My name is Mary Pratt, and I've been painting since I was 10 years old, which means I've been painting for 60-odd years. When I was quite young, I learned to paint. I loved to paint, but I didn't really know what to paint. But gradually, as I worked around the house, because I was a young mother with 4 children, I worked my painting time into the time when I was doing housework or looking after the kids. And so I painted things that were in the house. Jelly that I'd made myself, bread that I'd made myself, fish that I'd gutted myself. But I was always involved with the thing that I painted. It was always something that I had either made or had something to do with. And the prints that are at the McMichael at the moment are a very good indication of that. Now, at first, I only painted things that I found. I never set things up. I never set up a still life, you know, with a drape or a few nuts here and a few bolts there. I didn't do that. I waited until the world spoke to me, which is very different than setting things up. But when we decided to do this series of prints with this wonderful printmaker, Masato Arikushi, who lives in Vancouver, I knew that I was probably going to have to get more formal about my work, and I did. I had to learn to set up a painting. And I had to do this by trying to figure out what was the most important part about any one of the fruits that I decided to paint. For instance, the watermelon had to look huge in the same perimeter as the cherries. And so I made the watermelon sort of push out against the sides of the perimeter. And so the watermelon print looks much bigger, for instance, than the print of the cherries. The cherries are in a little bowl and the little stems are sticking up. And I called it cherry ripe because it was so, you know, so perky like cherries are. It was very interesting, particularly in the peach print. I tried posing these peaches beside water and rock, any number of things, so that I get the difference between the softness of the peach and the hardness of the rock or the liquidness of water, and nothing worked. And as I was moving the peaches from one place to the other, I put them in a Tupperware pot, you know, one of those plastic pots. And all of a sudden I realized that the plastic, that sort of dull shimmer of the plastic, made the peaches that were seen through the plastic look soft, like the surface of a peach, sort of fuzzy. And so that was really a gift. It wasn't something I was expecting, so I did the peaches in a plastic pot. And it's kind of funny because a lady in St. John's who wanted to buy the print said, well, you know, Mary, I'd really like to buy your print, but if I buy that print, I expect to hang it in the living room, and I can't put Tupperware in the living room. When Canada Post phoned me and asked me if I'd be interested in having them use 2 of my paintings on stamps, of course, you know, I was very, very pleased, because what an opportunity for an artist to show their work on the back of envelopes. It's terrific. They wanted to use an image of the jelly jars, and I was very happy with that because I like the painting. And then they chose another food image, and I thought maybe it would be better if they were to choose for the international stamp a painting that I had done years ago of an iceberg in the North Atlantic. Canadians haven't had a chance really to see that painting because as soon as it was bought, it went down to the Canadian Embassy in Washington, and that's where it's hung ever since. So unless you went there, you didn't see that painting. But because Canada is wanting to look after its northern boundary, and we don't have enough ships really to police it, and because we are worried about the melting of the ice cap and all those environmental issues, I thought that the iceberg in the North Atlantic would be a very good image for an international stamp. Although most people think of me as painting food, you know, fruit and fish, what I really love to paint is the figure. I did a series of nudes and semi-nudes of a girl who worked in my house, Donna Meany. And she lived with us for 3 years. And during that time, I did photography of her, and eventually these slides, photographs, became paintings. And it's a very major part of my work, and recently the McMichael collection, the McMichael Gallery, showcased one of these paintings called This is Donna. And it was wonderful for me. I'm very grateful to the gallery for having done that, as I'm grateful to the gallery for mounting this show. Perhaps the most interesting thing about this show is the blocks themselves that Masato Arikushi made, cut out of wood. I think most people who see prints expect that a printmaker does all the red at one time and all the yellow at another time and then all the blue. But that's not how Masato works. And when you go to the McMichael, you'll see a whole wall of prints. And you have to remember that these blocks are worked on one side as well as the other. So both sides are worked. So you're only seeing half when you look at that wall of blocks. And you'll notice that the blocks, every one of them, have 3 or 4 different colors. But it's very interesting to me to wonder how this brilliant man actually was able to figure out how to do these prints. Now, they didn't happen overnight. Some of the prints took 18 months to do. But you have to acknowledge the genius of Masato Arikushi when you see these prints and see these blocks. And it's rare to see blocks, because usually they're destroyed as soon as the print is made. But we decided that we would keep them just for this show. Of course, they'll never be used again, and they may have to be destroyed. I'm not sure what about that. But it's a rare opportunity to see this, to see the prints and the blocks. And I just hope everybody that goes will appreciate the difficulty that we both went through in making these, and yet celebrate with us the results, because I think both of us are happy with the results.